Okay guys, in this tutorial we're going to break this mountain. We will learn some really cool and interesting techniques for fracturing this kind of setups. And without losing any time, let's start this tutorial. First of all, let's make the geometry. I'm going to make a fast geometry made out of a cube. Let's make this cube really large, around 100 units. But instead of that, we're going to create it from here, 100 units here. And we're going to copy this parameter and reference here and divide it by 2. Let's make this really big. On a poly mesh, we can see it here. And let's grab a mountain Sop. Let's actually add some noise here, a lot. And let's make a VDB from polygons out of this. Remember, this is a really large scale, so you need a really big resolution, a really low resolution. This should be fine. Let's convert it back to polygons, like so. This should be fine, and let's add a mountain Sop again. You can also make it with a point blob. It doesn't really matter how you make it, as long as you do make it. Let's increase the scale and increase the height, like so. Don't worry if it breaks in some parts. It is actually not that a huge deal. Remember, the mountain Sop works with the normals, so you should update the normals each time possible. So I believe this could work, maybe a little bit less. Let's create a band Sop, like so. On the capture length, we're actually going to grab this size here and paste it right here. And remember, we can also increase this. I'm going to make it 300 on height, so the band will be 300. We can bend this, of course, but I in fact believe I want to twist it a little bit, like so. We need to change the value to +1 on Y, so we can twist it and bend it somewhere. This should be, I'm going to go on the +X axis. You can also add a tapper and leave it like that. Let's copy and paste these two, just in case we don't want to have any issues with the geometry. And we could in fact double this down and add a final point blob where we will be deforming, analyze, flow, like that. Let's make an add Sop, an add node. Let's merge these two and let's plug it in with 3D noise and maybe a scale of 0.1, 0.1 and 0.1, where we can actually increase the amplitude just to add a little bit of detail. We can have horizontal lines, so instead of 0.1 we could do 0.2, and this will create a really nice detail around the geometry. One last VDB again, just to enhance the surface a little bit, and there we are with this geometry that has only about 200,000 polygons. This is okay. We in fact need to blast what we don't want. I'm going to save this file just to be sure. Let's add a Boolean fracture. This should be set like so, with no polygons, with append. Well, we can override because we don't have any piece here. And we can make a sphere. This sphere will represent where we actually want to break the geometry. So this will be it. Like so, let's plug it in here and let's see what happens. With Control click and left click and click on the name, we will see where it actually breaks. This is fine at the moment. We can expand this further, and we can see we actually need some more detail. So let's copy and paste these two. Let's plug it in here, and let's see how it looks. Maybe we need a little bit more displacement, maybe here, like so. Let's add some height to displace it. This will be it, and a little bit more geometry won't be wrong. Like there we go. So now if we actually increase the height and the element scale a lot, we will in fact have some more interesting breakouts. We don't need that much resolution here. We can go lower and we will break this. Now we go. See, this is a little bit better for our simulations. Now that we have this, we can assemble it, and once we assemble it, we can choose the piece we want. This is not procedural. You can make it procedural, but we actually don't need so much control here. I will choose this and press split. On the one hand, if we invert this, we will have the base. So this will be null out base. On the other hand, we have main destruction. We have this. But what happens if we unpack this? We won't find anything interesting. We have the names here, piece 2, but we will set it up again. I have a node which is set names, which actually create the names and the name of originals. We will create it from scratch. Let's grab a connectivity. Let's set it to primitive. Okay, we'll create this connectivity and add an attribute wrangle, and you will copy and paste this. This is not that big of a deal. It's actually just doing, okay, this will be the name of the piece, and we are going to grab the connectivity node, which is 0, and add the 0 as a string. This will be fracture main. It will change here if we click right here and we set these to primitives. See? And we will also add another string which will be name for each, and it will be equals to the name. And now we have the same name duplicated. Let's create an ISO offset, and let's scatter some points. I will scatter around 20 points. Let's copy to points the following. We are going to copy points the following grid, which will be around 1 kilometer per 1 kilometer, like so. And we will in fact do a randomized attribute to rotate them on the normal based on a direction or orientation. We will also add more rows and a mountain node. The mountain node is the same as a noise, as we talked before, and we can also increase the scale as shown before to create some really nice distortions on the shape. This will do the breakups of the actual mountain. See? Okay, so let's Boolean fracture this based on these scatters and also based on this geometry. We will go inside and do an append with these characteristics. So you will actually see that the name original remains, but the fracture changes. Look at this. This geometry is way more interesting, but it's still not okay. You can also change this if we right click here and go into names and change name for name for each. This is the actual name. But in this case, we will need to copy and paste this again. Sorry, to copy and paste this again. Okay, so now that we copy and pasted this node again, we can in fact look how it changed and how we resetted the attributes. These will come in handy to do a for each named primitive. We know that the primitive is in fact the name, or the name original is the same, and will we cut each piece individually. We will copy and paste this like so, and we will add it in here. One thing you can do to avoid crashes is to load everything here, actually blast it, and right out here freeze this. This will freeze everything, so you can actually do your calculations faster without crashing, as I did several times. Well, since we changed this, we can in fact do one piece by one. Let's grab any one. Let's grab, let's see, just to pre-visualize this piece that is really big. Okay, so what do we want here? We want to copy and paste this around here, and let's grab some pieces to scatter some new cutters. In this case, we don't need that big of a grid. We can in fact lower it a lot more, since the shape will be contained in here, and we can the scale or the element size lower it a lot more, and the height will be also lowered here. The scale, we can move the scale here just under 0.1 will be okay. I like this. Well, let's see how it looks with a Boolean fracture. Remember, this has to be on no polygons because it works better. There we go, plug everything together, and let's see how it looks shattered. Let's go here, and it looks really nice. We need to append this, of course, and we have every piece around here. We will output this and do the same for every single piece. Okay, so everything got fractured. We have a nice amount of geometry, but I believed that in fact we need to break out a little bit more these big pieces. And how do we do this? This will be really handy to add in your workflows. You need to, first of all, grab measure, set it to volume. You will have a volume attribute here, and it has to iterate per piece, and the piece will be, in this case, the name. We can see how it looks if we visualize this volume, I believe, right here. There we go. So we have these pieces. The blue ones are the smallest one, and the red ones are the bigger. So we need a way to separate this, and we can actually split them into two pieces. If we add in the split float, and this will be the threshold, we can grab or make the following expression. If volume is bigger than, in this case, the threshold face relative reference, we will split these two. Okay, is anything bigger than this? Yes, everything. But if we start to increase this, we will start to see what we are leaving behind. These are the small pieces, and we will go further into just the biggest ones. The biggest ones are these ones. We can see them here on the names. See, everything here is actually big, and yeah, this is actually okay. I believe, yeah, we can shatter this a little bit more. We will just copy and paste this here. Press S and remove this. This will calculate again, which is a shame. So we got these pieces. We will place this here and paste it here. So each piece will be shattered more into tiny pieces. We can in fact make this different. We can change the actual noise a little bit, or offset the noise. In fact, yeah, we can offset the noise and looks for something interesting, and I think this is okay. Yeah, this will be fine, and this will iterate on every single piece again. So remember, now that we have everything fractured, we can merge these two guys like so. We have everything fractured nicely, and we in fact can check out the name orig. See, these are the originals big pieces. So from this on, we can start creating two things. First of all, the constraints with another for each named. Sorry, I made a mistake here. With a for each named primitive. The for each named primitive. Let me just freeze this and Ctrl S. The name, the for each name will go on the name orig. So only 151 pieces. We will create a connected piece, connected adjacent pieces based on the surface. We will have some points here, or something like this should actually work, I believe. Okay, so we have this, and we can in fact clean this up. So we have less points. Look at this, we have 3/4, 3,000 points. If we add a clean, we will have only 600 points, and we can make a wrangle on the primitives that will be set to, in this case, glue. Just copy and paste this. This is the type of the constraint, which is glue, which is like a strong type of glue, a strong type of constraint. This is okay. We can add a color. This color will be, in this case, green. Let's see how it looks on every piece. So these are the glue constraints. We have a lot of constraints. We can just control this here with a delete. Let's go to expression, I mean range. So every 4, 5 on 6 will be deleted, or every, I don't know, 15 on 17. This is better. We need another type of constraints which will go with every piece. We need this, and I forgot to merge this, the base. Let's in fact do an object merge, grab this here, and let's go lower and merge this here. So we have these pieces, unlock this, unlocked it again. Sorry, we should lock this, unlock this, and unpack, and now we should lock this. Remember, this is just so we don't lose the information and avoid crashes and stuff. So we have this. This will go piece by piece and do a connect adjacent pieces. We can do, of course, a connect adjacent pieces, but in this case based on a boundary node that will be name origin. So it will connect the bigger pieces together. In this case, we just want to have less pieces, and they will be, instead of glue, they will be spring. Merge these two with a new color. In this case, there will be yellow, and let's see how they look. Okay, so these are the constraints. They look quite cool, and let's assemble these pieces. This will be the high res. Just do the following. We have everything together. P3, 1 and 0 are, well, the non-colliders. So we can just grab a wrangle. Now let's not do anything. Okay, so we can grab a poly reduce and reduce this by a factor of 10. You can go farther even if we want. This should be fine. We can have even less polygons, but I don't need to. We can split this, and everything that has a name equals to main. Anywhere on their name will be split. So this will be one piece, and this will be the other piece. This will be the back, and I will in fact poly reduce this even more. I don't need that much detail here. This will be fine. Let's merge these two. We don't need the nulls, and we have what is going to be simulated and the collision. We will assemble this. Right, so let's do an RBD unpack. Let's do an RBD pack. Let's merge these two, and let's connect this here. This will be a way to make everything tidy. Let's connect the constraints there, and let's add a transform node here, just in case you want to move the simulation. Let's create a null. This will be out high. This will be out con from constraints, and this will be out low. On that low, we're going to copy and paste this again right here. We need to unpack this before. This is the out low, and this will be the out call on the collision. You will see why I did this later on. And finally, we will assemble this back like so, because the simulations need packed geometry. So we have this, and let's add a primitive. The primitive will be used just to lower the scale a little bit. Okay, so why do I do this? I do this because we need to improve the collisions. And in order to improve the collisions, we might need some space between the pieces, because this will be calculated based on convex holes, and it might explode if we don't do this. So we have everything set up here. This is actually pretty simple. Let's create a dot network, and let's hop in. RBD packed object to grab the first one. The first one will be the out low. We're going to merge and connect the other one. The other one will be the out call, the collision. This will be actually be static object. Let's grab a rigid body solver. Let's add some gravity, and let's move this around here and make a constraint network. So we'll load in the constraints. The constraints are also loaded with the null. And let's generate the glue constraint relationship, which is glue. This is to grab the same name as the stop. And let's merge this because we will in fact need the spring constraint relationship. The spring relationship will be based on the same spring. Let's merge this here and let's grab, or let's put the $os. So we have everything set up. Let's create this in 60 and let's see what happens. It won't work as expected, but let's just see what happens. So as you can tell, nothing is falling down because, well, we have a spring connected to the geometry. It is moving, but it's not separating from the main mesh. So we need to create some kind of solver here, Sop Solver. The Sop Solver will be made or will be used to delete the spring constraints when they reach a certain amount of extension. So when the distance is bigger than the rest length. Oh, I forgot to actually put the rest length. This is really important, and we will go back. Multiplied by CHF, and we will put thresh mult. Like so, we will remove the prim, which will be the 0 prim num 0, like so. This will only work on the pieces that are constrained name prim, nowhere else. So let's go back and let's go to the constraints and actually create the rest length here and create the rest length here. This is really important. So let's hop in again and let's go in here, press this button, and this will be actually 0.3, maybe 1.3. So when the distance is bigger than this by 1.3, everything will break. The rest length is the rest position, but on the distance of the primitive. So let's see what happens if we all look at the constraints. I don't want this to be shown, so I only want this, and the glue I also want the same. Oh, this is okay. Wow. Let's see what happens with these constraints. Do they break? They should in fact break anytime soon. Yes, they are starting to break. That's amazing. So they drag a little bit and they separate later on. And the glue are breaking. I believe they should be breaking. The glue are the red ones. Oh, this is sliding because this should be, which is the collision, a convex hull. If we show the geometry, this is a big box. We should have the concave. That's why we poly reduce this out by a lot. So let's watch again. Okay, so the geometry is in fact breaking. It broke too soon for my taste, but we should see how it looks before saying anything. Okay, so this is great. We can see how it's bending a little bit due to the springs, and well, this should in fact look pretty cool. So this is the really low res. How do we look at the high res? We extract the points and we piece transform or transform pieces. These will be the points, and this is the geometry. So we have the low res and the high res here. See? High res, low res, high res. So let's actually create a playlist and see how it looks. Okay, so this is what we have. You can see it falling, really nice, but it breaks everything too fast. I really don't like that, and we don't have a ground. So let's in fact change this. We have to make some things. First of all, we will go to the low, which is what we need to simulate, and we will object merge this here. This will be really fast. We will grab a group. Everything is selected. We do not want everything selected. We will do a bounding box. The bounding box will be set to grab everything at first, but we will animate this. So I want on the first couple of frames, or I want here on frame 96 to be everything. Before this, I only want to have the half of it simulated, which will be set basically around here, and from the beginning we will have everything going up slowly. So this is what's going to happen. We will activate this here, and we will activate that later in a matter of seconds. It will wait, and we will continue. This can in fact obviously move there, so it's slow. And let's see what happens. We need to make a wrangle. This wrangle will be active. We'll set to active equals 1. And the outlaw has to go with the wrangle that is active equals 0. We need to hop in. Let's increase the glue strength so it doesn't break so fast, and let's make another Sop Solver, but here, Sop Solver. This Sop Solver will be based on the geometry, and we will copy the attributes because we have the same based on the name attributes. We will object merge. I forgot to actually make a note. We need to be tidy. This will be the out active. Let's hop in. Let's go inside. Let's grab the out active, and let's copy everything here. So it will activate based on the time. We will have this, which activates, but we need to set it up really fast with group 1. The group up 1 will be the active, and we will actually set this to $os. This will be the active. There we go. So now when it goes up, the active will change, and we will see this following happened here. See, it changes. So we will set this blue, or we will visualize this one, and we will go back and see how it looks. After, obviously, let's don't forget to add the ground, and the ground should be set on the left side, like so. One more thing I forgot to say is to make this an integer. Also make this an integer, and let's hop in and match to the name attribute here, not here, and the attribute name we want to copy is the active. So this actually works like so. We have something breaking at the beginning and then activating everything on top of it. We have some small pieces like here, and we have also some big pieces merged by the glue. They will eventually break when they hit the ground. You can also see this with the iris. This is how it looks. And I will in fact go here and show you guys how it looks on a full playlist. And this is how it looks. Remember, with time you can create something really cool. We created this is only half an hour, I believe, and it's actually a really great start for way bigger simulations. This is really cool, and we learn how to activate pieces based on a group, and we also learn how to make two different types of constraints, so we have a really high type of versatility with these simulations. I hope, guys, that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, to subscribe, and follow me on Twitch and Discord. So, always thank you, and see you on the next one.